How does this program work? How can I tell if I'm making progress? We can think of going through the program like riding a bicycle or driving a car. Have you ever tried riding your bicycle or driving your car up a steep hill, but were in the wrong gear? It can feel like quite a struggle. This is why vehicles have gears in the first place. Low gears help us get up the hills, and high gears help us gain speed and momentum once the lower gears get us going. We can look at moving through the program as having 3 gears. We shift our car into first gear to start moving. Once we get a little speed, we shift into second, and then third gear. First gear is all about recognizing our habit loops and which habit loop we're in at any one time, seeing the different components really clearly: trigger, behavior, and reward. We learn this on day 1 of the program. For example, what triggered my craving? What did I reach for? Was I paying attention when I smoked, or was I on autopilot? The more we can recognize all of our different habit loops, the more quickly and easily we can step out of them. First gear is all about simply seeing all of our habit loops. Once we can see our habit loops clearly, we've started moving. We can now shift into second gear, Disenchantment. Here we dive into and explore the reward part of the habit loop. Our habit loops are so habitual that we might have long forgotten what the actual reward is that we get from them. By actual reward, I mean everything that comes as a result of smoking. To explore how rewarding our rewards are, we ask the simple question, what did I get from this? And then drop into our immediate experience to see what the reward actually is. How did that cigarette taste? What did the smoke feel like in my throat as I inhaled? When we clearly see what we actually got, all the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that come from smoking, our brains start to recalibrate around how rewarding the reward actually is, beyond scratching that itch of craving that we're trying to get immediate relief from. We're clearly seeing that this isn't as good as we remembered. When we let ourselves really experience the actual effects of our habits, we become less and less excited to do this again, simply because our brains are getting recalibrated and updated to what the rewards are right now. This is how our disenchantment builds. That's second gear, our car's picking up speed. Now that we've more clearly seen our actual rewards that come from smoking and are not as excited to continue this behavior, we have enough speed to shift into third gear where we can focus in on craving itself. We're ready to start using the practices such as RAIN and noting that we started learning on day 4 and through the Wantometer. Using RAIN, we drop into a curious awareness and know what's happening in our bodies when we're having a craving so that we can ride out that craving instead of feeding it. Each time we do this, we strengthen our mindfulness skills. Now the next thing I'm going to say is really important. Many people have come to the program with the old habit of trying to control or force their behavior, or even trying to think their way through a problem. They shift into first gear without a problem as they start to recognize their habit loops. Then they try to force themselves to ride out their cravings. This is like trying to shift from first to third gear. What happens? It doesn't work. They didn't have enough speed, so their car stalls. And then they try it again and again, and then start wondering what's wrong with the car, instead of asking, do I know how to drive this thing? Don't fall into this trap. Be patient. Make sure you know how to shift between first and second gear, taking your time to really see if you're disenchanted from your behaviors on an experiential level, knowing this in your bones, rather than on a thinking level such as, oh, I know this is good for me. If I just push it a little more, it'll work this time. You'll know if you've got enough speed to shift into third gear. How? Well, you'll try shifting, and the car will either get into third and pick up more speed, or it will stop. If you feel like you're in the wrong gear, a big hint here is checking your mind state. Is it open and curious? Or is it closed down, trying to force things? If it's closed down, try dropping back into second gear and explore these rewards a little bit more. That open, curious attitude will build that disenchantment that allows you to pick your speed back up for that smooth shift into third gear. And then you're off. Oh, one more thing. Along this journey, we're all going to come across all sorts of hills and valleys. Some days we're driving up a big hill, We're in first gear and that's okay. We can't force it into third gear. We simply have to recognize that today is a first gear day. Don't worry, as you keep driving, your skills will grow and strengthen no matter what gear you're in. Over time, as you gain speed and learn to shift and then drive more and more in third gear, you'll have enough speed and momentum to even drive up those hills in third gear. At this point, nothing can stop us. So keep these gears in mind as you go through the program, checking in as much as possible to see what gear you're in. Don't force things, and if you're struggling, first check to see if you're in the wrong gear or trying to shift from first to third gear too quickly, and then simply downshift to second or even first gear. Don't forget, no matter what gear you're in, you're moving closer to your goal.